I used to think the scariest thing about staying in a massive, empty house was the silence. But I was wrong. The scariest thing is realizing you aren't actually alone. This happened in the summer of 2019. I was a 20-year-old college student, broke, and looking for easy ways to make rent. A family friend connected me with this wealthy couple who needed a house sitter for 2 weeks while they went to Europe. It sounded like a dream. They had this massive, modern smart home nestled in a really quiet, upscale neighborhood. They were paying me a ridiculous amount of money just to water their plants, bring in the mail, and keep the house looking lived in. The first 3 days were pure luxury. I spent my time watching Netflix on their massive TV and ordering takeout. But on the fourth night, things started getting weird. I was sleeping in the guest bedroom on the second floor. Around 2 a.m., I woke up to this faint, crackling sound. Static. I sat up and looked around. On the dresser across the room was an old-school baby monitor. The little green light was on, and a soft, rhythmic scratching sound was coming through the speaker. It almost sounded like breathing. I got majorly creeped out, so I just walked over, unplugged it, and shoved it in a drawer. I told myself it was probably interference. The owners had a grandkid who visited sometimes. That had to be it. But the next night, I was sitting in the living room downstairs, scrolling through my phone. The house was dead silent. Then, a click echoed from the kitchen island. My heart froze. Sitting right there on the granite countertop was another baby monitor. The green light was glowing. I hadn't put that there. I knew for a fact the counters were completely empty when I wiped them down that morning. My heart started hammering against my ribs. I walked toward the kitchen. My legs felt like lead. As I got closer, the static shifted. Clear as day, a raspy male voice whispered, "I like your hair down." I literally stopped breathing. My hair had been in a messy bun all day, and I had just taken it down 5 minutes ago. Whoever was on the other end wasn't a neighbor. They were watching me. Right now. I sprinted to the front door, didn't even grab my shoes, locked myself in my car. My hands were shaking so violently I could barely type. I texted the owner, "I'm so sorry to wake you, but someone hacked your baby monitors. I'm calling the police." 3 dots immediately appeared. The owner replied, "What are you talking about? We threw all our baby monitors away 5 years ago." My stomach dropped. If the monitors weren't connected to the home's Wi-Fi, that meant they were radio frequency, and those only work if the receiver is within a few hundred feet. I desperately hoped that there was some weird change in the model that the owners weren't aware of, but the police arrived 4 minutes later. They searched the entire property. They didn't find anyone outside. They found him inside, in the attic, directly above the guest bedroom where I had been sleeping. The cops found a makeshift bed, a stash of food he'd been stealing from the pantry at night, and the master receiver for the baby monitors. A squatter had been living in the house for God knows how long. He had cameras set up in the air vents. He had been watching me sleep, watching me walk around, and he had physically placed that monitor on the kitchen counter while my back was turned, just to let me know he was there. They never caught him. By the time the cops got inside, he'd slipped out a window and across the roof. I'm 25 now, and I still check the air vents in every room I enter. Because you never really know how empty an empty house